As you get closer to retirement, one of the biggest questions is this: how do you balance spending your retirement money with making sure it lasts, especially if you hit what's called a negative sequence of returns? The short answer: step one, get a handle on your expenses. This is probably the most basic and most sound advice I have heard on any retirement subject. In the book, Richest Man in Babylon, Arcad said, pay yourself first. By saving 10%, it forces you to spend less than your means. You know, it's pretty clear. If you spend like a drunken sailor, no matter how big your nest egg is, it will vanish faster than you think. Now, since I'm talking to rational people here, let's focus on what some of the best withdrawal strategies are. The one that will support the life you actually want in retirement. Hey everyone, I'm Vincent. I'm a do-it-yourselfer in the middle of my own retirement transition. I talk about retirement from the perspective of someone that is trying to determine if it's possible to retire at the age that I'm at, which is 56, with the funds that I have. I have watched countless YouTube videos about if I had X amount of dollars, would I outlive my money or I can retire? I'm not into that. I'm trying to build a framework that I believe will make my journey successful, and I hope it can help you too. I want to share my retirement journey with you and share the ideas and all the research and ideas that I've found so that you can benefit from what I've learned. So, early in our careers, many of the things I think you heard by many people, especially Wall Street, is you should save, and you save it in pre-tax accounts. But in retirement, it becomes a whole different mindset. It's about spending. So this concept takes a little bit of digestion, but there's one thing that will be certain, and that's death and taxes. To make sure your money outlives you, you need a drawdown strategy that makes sense. It needs to be easy to implement and easy to execute. It should balance asset preservation and growth while covering your spending needs. It's really that simple. But there's a major obstacle one has to consider, especially as it relates to economics, taxes, and healthcare. So in order to deal with that, there are a few rules of thumb to keep you ideally within the bounds to support yourself and remain solvent. In my view, and what I've seen, there are three main strategies. 1, total return with rebalancing. 2, the bucket strategy. And 3, the guardrails methodology. Let's start with total return and rebalancing. This is where you invest with a set asset allocation, like 80-20 or 60-40, equity to fixed income. And then you periodically rebalance it, selling what's overweight and buying what's underweight, typically in the same portfolio. I personally lean towards 90-10. It's really worked out well for me, but you know that could change, and it could change very quickly. But Morningstar did a study in September 2023, and they determined that with a 4% withdrawal rate, this strategy ended up with the highest portfolio value out of all the ones that they tested, especially the two that I'm going to explain to you. But there are trade-offs, and the trade-off is that it could potentially lead to underspending, and that could lead to some headaches later for RMDs and IRMA. Now let's move on to the second strategy. It's the bucket strategy, and it's probably the most simplest of the three. The bucket strategy puts your money in 3 buckets. Bucket 1, 3 years of safe cash investments. Bucket 2, great years of income and growth. And bucket 3, long-term growth assets you probably won't touch for a good portion of time, typically 7+ years. It's really simple to grasp. It protects you from having to sell risky assets. And during a downturn, the challenge, rebalancing gets tricky because you're juggling 3 separate mini portfolios. It's also really just the total return with rebalance, but branded a bit differently and with a different time frame. Bucket 2 and 3 probably will have to undergo the same scrutiny as the rebalance strategy. So finally, the guardrails methodology, and this is kind of a new kid on the block. And here's the idea. You start with a set withdrawal percentage. If your portfolio grows, you increase your spending. If it shrinks beyond a certain point, you cut back. So for example, with a $3 million portfolio at 5%, you can spend $150,000 per year. But if growth pushes your balance to $5 million, your withdrawal rate drops, so that means you have to elevate your spending. But if you have losses, it pushes that spending to a higher percentage, which means you have to spend less. I'll demonstrate it here on one of these charts. It's very, very simple. Each of these strategies has pros and cons. The real key is the one that you should pick that you can set up properly and execute it consistently. Because in retirement, the goal isn't just to make your money last, it's to make your life last. And that matters the most. As a side note, there are software products that can help you with all of these concepts. The ones that I chose are by Bolden. And it's now actually incorporating this new guardrails methodology, But if you just want to look at a pure guardrails methodology software product, the best one I've seen is from a company called Income Laboratories. Check them out. They're all worth using. They're, I think, personally very important things to use because you need help along the way. This can't be done with a calculator or even like with a complex spreadsheet unless you're very, very fluent with spreadsheets and programming. Thank you very much for watching. I love to do these retirement videos. I hope this helped you. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.